Hey, this is Jeff Provenzano, and you're listening to Verbal Shenanigans.
But our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really.
Evil shenanigans.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
Hello, everybody. Welcome on back to the Verbal Shenanigans podcast. Another episode. We have not gone away. And I think, Burlew, what are you down to 2 episodes left to your 500th episode?
2 weeks from this one. Yes. Yes.
Gotcha. How is the preparation going?
It's going great. It's all there, the preparation that is needed for the episode. So hasn't been hurt in any way, hasn't been pushed around. I know plenty of what I have to do. It's just a matter of getting in there and doing it, buddy.
Yeah, I cannot wait until we day of and you're like,
I wasn't really in that one episode. You played some audio clips at the end because I was in the airport. So
yeah. But anyway, welcome on back to the show. That is Mike. I am Scott. And here we are, 520. What are we on? 526 at the moment. 526 episodes. There's plenty for all of you new listeners to go back and check out. If you dig tonight's guest, there's a whole bunch of them. Mike, currently, as we are recording, we're getting towards the baseball, the hunt, if you will. We're getting closer towards September. Even though baseball is disgustingly long, you still look at the schedule like, oh my God, there's still 40 plus games to go.
Yeah.
Which means anything can happen. But, we're in July, the end of July and August, which you know what that means. If you're a Met fan, it happens every year. We just start tanking right after the All-Star break. It's kind of like what we do. We have like a real hot, like May or June, one of the two, and then we just tank. And then September, we make it like, you sweat the whole time to see if we make the playoffs. So that's what's currently happening with the Mets.
Yeah. In the summer, you go to upstate New York and the Mets go to the toilet.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
What they like to do. It's the family tradition and everything.
Yeah, it's pretty much, it's like clockwork. Any year that they're competitive, this is what happens in the summer. Like years they stink, they stink all year. But if they're competitive, they have to tank for at least a good month. And be up 1 game and then a week goes by and they're down 4.5 games.
My wife posted on Facebook like the meme of the one baby smiling and the one baby crying, and it's like Mets are back in first place, and the smiling baby's got the Mets uniform and the Phillies baby is crying. And then a week went by. I'm like, hey, babe.
Yeah, right.
6 games behind. Should the baby keep on smiling, or what should we do? Should we smack him or what?
Yeah. This is why, as a Met fan, lifelong Met fan, my son's name is Shea, for God's sake. He wasn't really named after them per se, but it didn't hurt. It didn't hurt. It was kind of like, okay, that's also a cool little tie-in. I don't ever talk crap about the Mets. Like, it's almost hard to manufacture trash talk as a Met fan. It's kind of like, oh yeah, man, look at us. We're in first. We know how it all ends. We know where it's going. We know how this all ends. But the other day, I don't know what got me on it or what article I was reading, but I was reading about your favorite mascot, Mike.
I know that answer. That was after the whole ordeal with Coldplay, with that whole billionaire who got caught on the kiss cam with like his assistant and the whole ordeal. And then the next day, the Philly Phanatic did a parody of it with his girlfriend. That's how we got into this conversation here.
That's right. So I think the first thing I text you was like, there's a female Philly Phanatic. Like I did not. Now this is not surprising because the Mets, Mr. Met has Mrs. Met. I think there's 2 two little baseball kids too that come out every once in a while. I don't know. It's just Mr. Met and Mrs. Met as far as I'm concerned. And
every once in a while they have a Make-A-Wish and they just shove a big baseball head on the kid and push him out there in front of millions of people. And all that's what they like to do over there in New York.
Yeah, but what occurred after I text you sent me down quite a little wormhole here, and I think it sent you down a little wormhole on apparently the Philly Phanatic, who I know you hold in such high regard. Where would you put Gritty as far as close to the Philly Phanatic? Like if you're giving the Phanatic an A plus, I assume you're going to give him. What score would Gritty get?
I would give Gritty, I would say a B minus.
Whoa, he's grown.
Yeah, because I would say when it came out, we were all like, what the hell is this? It was so insane. It's like, this is never going to work. This is the worst thing. And he kind of grew on the public and did his kind of thing where I'm like, all right, like he's nowhere in like, if we're talking like Mount Rushmore mascots, he's nowhere close to that. I don't even know how many hockey teams have mascots, but he has definitely grown where he has a character, and it's like, all right, now I can back the guy.
I got to say, the Devils mascot he's pretty iconic at this point. He's been around for a long time, and he's nothing weird. He's a devil. Like he's a devil wearing a hockey jersey. He's pretty awesome. Like he's not weird. He doesn't like a lot of these teams have like, I don't know, it'll be like a strange animal that has nothing to do with their name, and they're just like, you're like, okay, I get it. I remember the New Jersey Nets when we were growing up had like, they went through a whole bunch of mascots. At one point, it was Super Dunk. It was just some guy in like a spandex suit and then they had a wolf or something. I'm like, I don't know what you guys are going for. So the New Jersey Devil, he's totally cool in my book.
He shows up, he does his job, nothing crazy about it. He's like that solid mid-level management person you have in your company and all. You're never going to make president, but he'll always have people reporting to him.
He's been on a few like ESPN. Remember the old ESPN Sports Center commercials? He was on a bunch of them. So he's pretty cool. Mr. Met, pretty iconic. I know you're going to give me crap because he's just a big baseball head, but I feel like he's been grandfathered in. He's been around for so long that like he's kind of like an accepted mascot.
He is fine. I mean, he did like flip somebody off, if I recall. There was a big controversy there.
So what?
For a little bit, but I mean, he seems to be like integral in the team, and God bless him. Again, like, is he at Philly Phanatic level? No. Is he at San Diego Chicken level? No. I'm sure he's better than whatever's in like Colorado or the A's or something. I think
Mr. Met fell off a stage or something recently at a concert or something like that. Like he tripped and fell off a stage.
Well, again, it's summertime, so that's what happens to the Mets. They just fall off the stage. And
you try carrying that head around all the time. His center of gravity's got to be like awful.
Well, that's kind of my point. When like you designed it, it's like, how much could he really do? Like the Philly Phanatic is riding around in an ATV and he's playing around with the other teams and he's pissing off the umpires and he's going into the stands. He's got a full arsenal of things to do. It starts raining. He has a raincoat. He has a
he's a green monster. What does he have to do with the Phillies? He's a green fuzzy guy. He should be the Red Sox mascot. He's a green monster.
He's number one. The Red Sox have a green monster.
I know he's lame. He kind of looks. He's newer too.
Mr. Med is above the green monster. I will give you that. I don't get that, but they had they did have some mascots back in like 72. I think it was like something like Jim and Jill, and they were like in like 1770s gear and all. And they were like, like people who have been there for like the Declaration of Independence and stuff like that. And that thing never clicked off. So they're just
like your mascot. Your mascot should be like a bell or something like that. Something that represents Philly. A cheesesteak. That would be cool. But why is he a green fuzzy guy with a big nose?
He's just as the story goes, the Phillies went to the Galapagos Islands to try to find a mascot for the team, and he was hatched from an egg, and they brought him to Philadelphia, and he has become part of the family.
Imagine having to leave the beautiful islands and then end up in Philadelphia. That's like the worst downgrade ever.
I'm sure the first couple years, the Fanatic was panicking and like jumping into the Delaware, trying to get back to the Galapagos Islands for quite a bit. I have to admit that.
But let's break this down a little bit. So the Philly, I guess this is his girlfriend. So he's not even married.
No, he's not married.
Okay, and she is Fiona, PH, correct?
That is correct. All the direct Philly Phanatic family members or friends have a PH in the front, not an F.
Gotcha. So this says Fiona, the Philly Phanatic's girlfriend, rounds out the family, rarely seen, but part of the mascot's playful lore, enhancing the narrative of his personal life to Phillies fans. Now, do you recall ever seeing Fiona live in your experience, or is she that elusive?
She is very elusive. I was never at a game where she was there. The only somewhat regular would be his mother, because they're home a lot of times on Mother's Day or going into Mother's Day weekend. He will always bring out his mother to the crowd. I believe in the back and forth we had of the incident, you questioned that the Philly Phanatic was dating his mother, and he does not. Those are separate characters.
It would not surprise me. This is Philly people we're talking about here. So he might be the only mascot who still keeps his mother around, which is a little weird.
Right. He's a good boy. I mean, I'm sure like she missed him, and he showed signs that he was homesick, and the Phillies went back to the Galapagos Islands to pick up Phoebe Phanatic to bring her down and all. I mean, it's kind of expensive, so she can only really come down Mother's Day weekend. Right. So that's when we generally see her.
I picture him more of like an Italian guy who can't leave his mother's side. Like he still can't grow up and go on his own.
So Tommy DeVito is our
exactly.
Is our Phanatic.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. A little weird that his mom's around. I wonder if he's the only mascot who has a mother mascot. That has to be
I'm gonna lean towards no. I have a feeling the San Diego Chicken
has a mother.
Let me Google it. San Diego Chicken's mother.
Now while he's looking at that, we have had the San Diego Chicken on the podcast. Ted Giannoulis, I believe his name was, and that was many years ago. But we did have the San Diego Chicken on the pod here. I think the only mascot we've had on.
That is correct, and they're not giving me any details. Like when I put up mother, they literally listed Ted's actual mother in the Google. So maybe he did not have a family member on here. I'm going to keep scrolling down, but I'm not seeing anything right now.
Now, as strange as the Phanatic having a mother mascot, which I find hysterical, I went down a little wormhole and found out about Fred. Would you like to tell us about Fred?
Yeah, I've never seen Fred before. I've only heard about him.
Why is his family so elusive? They just come out at random times.
You know how far it is from Galapagos Islands to the vet or the what are we now? Citizens Bank Park.
Bank, yep.
Yeah, I mean that's a hell of a trip and all. You can't be bringing them over every 5 minutes and all. The guy who won the NASCAR race this past weekend, Shane Van Gisbergen, his father lives in New Zealand. You think he's like, Father, I'm going to Bristol. Come on over. No, it's a special occasion to bring them over.
For those wondering, the Galapagos Islands are approximately 3,277 miles from Philadelphia. Just to clear that up for everybody.
Yeah, and I'm sure Delta doesn't go there, so it's going to be kind of hard.
But let's break down Fred here. Who is Fred in the relationship?
He is the younger cousin of the Philly Phanatic, Scott.
This is just based on some Philly trash guy. Like, I got a younger cousin, I got a mom, I got a girlfriend, you know.
Well, maybe it's not necessarily his like cousin, whatever. You know, we all got like the family member you call uncle, but they're like the fourth cousin, or something like that. Maybe it's like the same thing. Like he's some kind of nephew or something like that, and he just like, yeah, that's my cousin over there, Fred.
I wonder if the cousin is on the mom's side or the dad's side. Now, has there ever been a dad in the picture?
Oddly, there has never been any instance of any mention of the Philly Phanatic's dad. I don't know.
This is just straight Philly trash family. That's what this is. You should apply and pitch to be the Phanatic's dad.
Yeah. And I don't even like get a good costume. I just like paint my skin green and put one of party favors in my mouth and all, and just show up and I'm
just
drunk
like a
and
Groucho Marx nose and he's an alcoholic. Yeah.
Maybe like he like slaps me and I don't like it too much and I start slapping the Philly Phanatic back, like a real.
Oh yeah. Judging by the Phanatic's behavior, his dad was definitely an abusive alcoholic. That's a fact. That is a given.
Well, that's why he's so close to his mother and brings her to all the Mother's Day games. Is because the horrible abuse that he got from his father on the Galapagos Islands. And
Fred is definitely from some broken family. Like, what on the dad's side?
It's probably from the father's side, where he's like, "Take me with you," and it's like, I can only bring you here on special occasions. Like, hey, Fred, we don't really have the space in the Phanatic home, so maybe once every couple years you show up at my house.
No, Mike, as I went down this wormhole, I want you to enlighten the audience on some of the other Phanatic family members, apparently, that maybe baseball fans don't know.
Well, the only one I could find, Scott, is the Phanatic's half brother, who's Asian.
The Philly Phanatic is just based off a pure white trash guy that the owner knows.
I mean, think about it. Like he's just running around the field on an ATV during a professional game. He's basically making a muck with everybody. He got into fights with Tommy Lasorda and all. It makes total sense and all. He had a broken family. Yeah,
the Phanatic is like one step away from shirtless Woodboy's family.
But at least the Phanatic has it home right now. But the Phanatic has a half brother in Japan called Sly, and he is the one family member that doesn't have a name that starts with a PH. And the story of it, as you brought up, how many mascots the New Jersey Brooklyn Nets had. Apparently, they had a deal where they were going to have a costumed character for the Nets from the same quote unquote family of the Philly Phanatic, and at the last minute they're like, nah, we're not gonna do that rebranding. So the Swamp Dragons of Japan said, hey, we're in the we're looking around for a mascot. No, why don't you send this bad boy half brother over to us and all? Ergo Sly lives in Japan and all. He has not come to Philadelphia for any games and all, not even for the Mother's Day. That
ironically, I refer to people from Philly as Swamp Dragons, so it's a very fitting, pretty fitting team.
I think that was the initial name and all before they made it the capital of the United States and all. The city was named Swamp Dragons, and they're like, hey, we're going to be signing these paperwork here. Maybe we should like rename it and everything.
I just love that the Phanatic even has a broken, weird Philly trash family. He's got a half brother in Japan from when Dad was probably sleeping around on some business trip. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. It's like Hank Hill, the same damn thing. He just, his father went on a quote unquote business trip in Japan and all, and then he came home and on one day, Phoebe Phanatic is like, hey, somebody from Japan is calling, and he's like, oh, crap. And he has to go through the story and all. Yeah, I had too much sake one night, we don't have sake over here in the Galapagos Islands, so my body couldn't take it. And then they took me to a strip club down there in Japan, and there was this cute little Asian girl up there, and she was like dancing in front of me. And for a moment I just lost it, and I woke up and I was naked next to her.
And broke. No money.
No money whatsoever. Didn't know how to get taxis into their country. Obviously, they don't talk Japanese in the Galapagos Islands, and also he had to walk back to his business hotel, if you will, to take care of the conference calls that he had to do. And then lo and behold, a few years later, and then a side kid.
And then Fred's like, tell me more, Papa. He's like, you're not my son, boy. Get out of here.
Shut up. And all, he just slaps him and all. And he tells him to get another beer and all. It's like, your dad didn't even like you and all. That's why I ate him. You know,
and then he's like, Fanatic, get your slut girlfriend out of here. Fiona's crying. I can picture it.
That's why she doesn't show up half the time. She's still got PTSD from the father, so she doesn't really like make public appearances. She's just an introvert and all, staying over at the Fanatic's apartment in Philadelphia.
You know, in the late 90s, early 2000s, they tried to do the caveman show. They tried to do a Conehead show. We could have pitched a Fanatic show and maybe got like 3 episodes out of a 10-episode season on the air.
I mean, I don't see how not. I mean, as we talked about the San Diego Chicken, he had a television show for a little bit. So I could totally have seen, like, all you had to do was, it's the best setup and all. You're like mid-season on the San Diego Chicken show, and it's like, oh, we got to fill some time. So it's like you have an episode where the San Diego Chicken's just chilling and all. And he's like, what's that damn noise and all? And it's the Fanatic on the ATV running around. And so the chicken's all pissed off and shaking his fist at the Fanatic as he's like making loud noises over in the neighborhood. And then like the San Diego Chicken has his business dinner. And it's really important to impress his boss. But
and then like Mr. Met's nice normal family comes over for dinner to the white trash
they
Philly
bring a
family
casserole, but then lo and behold, and all, boom, kicks down the door. Philly Phanatic's got like a 6-pack and he's ready to party. And then he like tries to open a beer, but he shook it up too much and the beer explodes in the San Diego Chicken boss's face.
Exactly.
And he's all angry and he's like, chicken! And it's so embarrassing. But at the end of the episode, the Fanatic learns his lesson and he apologizes and they hug. But then it's like, I wonder what wacky adventures the Fanatic will get into the next time. And that's a spinoff to the Philly Phanatic show.
And his dad's just like wasted and saying racist things that are kind of like, you know, borderline that can get on the air.
Exactly. You know, that's why the Fanatic stops drinking. You know, like he starts drinking in front of the San Diego Chicken. He's like, what are you doing? You ruined my dinner. And then we flash back into the Galapagos Islands where like the Fanatic's like 3 years old and he accidentally spills some chocolate milk and the dad is like, what is wrong with you? And he punches him in the face and he starts crying. And Phoebe Phanatic is like, I thought you would stop and all. He's like, I don't give a damn. Nobody loves me. I'm heading back to Japan where I'm really loved.
It sounds perfect to me. It sounds
like a normal day to me.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get off the Fanatic. Mike, what do you got here before we get to our guest?
Before we get to the next thing, I just want to say, like, as we were going through the Fanatic stuff, I was scratching the side of my my ribs, and there was something in my shirt. There was just a bee in my shirt for no apparent reason.
A bee?
A bee. Yeah.
Wow.
Like
at 9:43 at night, there's just a bee swimming around in your shirt.
Yeah, let me see if I can.
Did you kill it?
I think it died. You see it on the top?
I do. Yeah, I did. That is.
Yeah, it's kind of moving still.
That is a bee, and it did not sting you somehow.
It did not sting me, and it's kind of still alive, and it's just
so stay tuned, folks.
What the hell is else up in here? This is amazing.
Now, I don't want you to get stung, but for radio purpose, it would have been pretty great if you just like, like during the Fanatic story.
Burlo, you really lived the life of the Fanatic's dad, didn't you?
As a man who's been attacked by many hornets, I hope you don't get stung. As a man who likes radio, I hope you do get stung.
Speaking of radio, have you been seeing the rumors that Stern might be done on Sirius coming up in a few months?
I have. To me, the first reaction was it kind of makes sense, the amount of money they're paying. I know a lot of people aren't really buying Sirius radio too much anymore. Like, it's not like there's not the huge demand out there as there may have been when they first came up. And even when it first came up, if you remember, you know, Sirius and XM had to merge together to kind of get their product right. And Opie and Anthony and Stern were kind of driving forces and getting people going. I think, I don't know, allotting hundreds of millions of dollars to one show and one channel is probably ultimately not the biggest, like the best business model, just because like how many new fans is he really grabbing? You know what I mean? The fan base is getting older. A lot of people already are kind of like, he's not the Stern of old. And we know that. And I actually don't think that's a problem because I think people do change and whatnot. Yeah. But I think they're probably looking at it like, what are we going to gain from this if we keep them on the air for the next 3-4 years at this price?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like right now with our political environment now, there's a lot of people, he went woke and he's losing his radio gig. Meanwhile, the guy is low 70s, I think, high 60s, somewhere in that range. Sure. And he's coming off of finishing a 5-year, $500 million deal, but we're just going out there going, I think he kind of won that deal, regardless of what you think about it. But yeah, it's just an amazing, interesting thing where we come and all. He got to the point now where we're almost like comparing him to who was the guy he was feuding with early on?
Don Imus.
Don Imus. Yeah, it's kind of a funny thing, like all growing up, this old guy who's been on radio forever thinks he's still great and all, but he's nothing like our new guy, Howard Stern. We love you, Howard, and we're going to mock the old guy. And now Stern has become the Imus basically nowadays. And even now, like they don't even charge anymore for his channel. They took the XL off, so you can technically just listen. But it's kind of a crazy thing. I know he's still like saying he's going to talk to like HBO Max and all of them, and
he'll find a home as soon as that contract's done. He'll find a home in 5 minutes, whether it's self-produced behind a paywall where he just has his own show and you pay $10 a month for it. Like he'll do his own thing, which is probably the best thing for him. He'll have no one in his ear, and he'll just do whatever he wants, whether it's continue what he's doing. Like he's so rich and powerful or whatever. He can just recreate what he has on his own platform and probably do all right. He could do it whenever he wants. He could put out one episode a week or one show a week if he wanted to, and he'd have his audience enough to probably be just fine.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird how he still kind of pushes back on the whole podcast media nowadays.
That's what's hysterical.
How everything changes, and like he gets so pissed off. Oh, Rogan doesn't deserve these numbers because he didn't go to like a small city and grow. And it's like, well, that's the point of podcasts, where you can just put it out and then the country will decide whether or not we keep you going or whatever. And
the irony of him starting his own podcast would be hilarious, because he'd probably be like, oh, I don't know why I was so against this for so long, because he could do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, and put it out whenever he wants, you know?
Exactly. On a side note, I'm not sure if I ever brought it up in the show. Did I mention I attempted to get my no-legged gay uncle on Stern?
No.
Yeah. So, like, as I can't officially recall, for those of you who are new to a show, I had an uncle on my mother's side, and he was a great guy, Uncle Jimmy. And then one day he pronounced that he was gay. And but he wasn't the cleanest person, so he got like an infection in his one leg, so he lost the one leg. Then had more complications, so he lost the second leg. So he was like Uncle Jimmy to my gay uncle, to my one-legged gay uncle, to my to my no-legged gay uncle. I don't know if we were in the one leg or no leg phase of his life, but he was talking about
the leg years.
Yeah. I'm going to say most likely one leg, because that was when he was someone living with us for a little bit. And he talked about he was writing a book about his life. So I actually called the Stern Show to see if they were interested, because this is still like prime whack pack. Howard Stern kind of years. I do recall like they called in, and I'm almost positive it was Stuttering John that picked up, and I like brought up like the story, whatever, and he was going to transfer him, and I handed it over to my uncle. I'm not sure if he was still talking to John or if it moved up to Baba Booey, but they kind of talked to him for a little bit, but they kind of decided that hey, we can do certain things, but we can't do other certain things, or people look at it, which is also kind of weird, since some people say he's the reason why Dana Plato killed herself and stuff like that. But it was a interesting little moment where we almost got into the Stern family, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting, and two, I think it's funny. Like, I'm not like a Stern guy. I had my period where I listened to him. I remember watching his little show on E late at night when I was like a teenager. I'm like, this is scandalous. Ooh, like, but I like, as an interviewer, as like, we do interviews every single week, tons and tons and tons of interview.
Yeah, Howard.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best interviewers. Like, his interviews are still fantastic, and I also think like, I don't know why people don't want people to ever change. It's like, if he was still doing like, the stuff with the women and the nude stuff, and that they would be like, oh, Howard doing the same old thing 30 years later. Like, you can't win. So I think we should embrace people changing. Now, whether he's doing it for a political reason, I have no idea. I don't follow him too much. I'll watch his clips, but I watch like some of his musician interviews are like very good. Like the way the tone he has and the questions he's able to get them, like the way they're do performances in between, like it's pretty damn good still. So yeah, I don't really know, but it is the end of an era. Like, he's not going back to terrestrial radio.
No.
I also wouldn't be surprised if this is all negotiating, tactics on Sirius's side. Like, yeah, we're going to cancel you. We're going to put it out there, and maybe we could find a deal where it's a lesser deal and you do 2 days a week or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, with like his interviews, he's the one person. All these years were like, who broke up the Beatles, and Paul McCartney was just regularly on his show, and then he brought it up, and he's just like, I'll tell you straight out. And John came in one day and just said, I'm done. I'm doing my single thing with my wife. And that was literally how we broke up. And that was like a mystery for years, and just a regular conversation. And he pushed it out. I feel like he's probably got a few more years in him if he wants to. I know, like, he lost his agent. He lost, did he lose his mother? I think he lost his mother.
I'm not sure.
Or father, one of them. Recently, I know Robin's been dealing with I don't know where her stage is with cancer, if she's been out of it or she's still fighting it. So he's kind of losing like his base where he's comfortable, and he does show I guess neurotic would be the best term, not even like to mock him, but if he's not comfortable, he's not going to do his thing. That's why I think if he really wants to, I can see a couple more years. But truly, honestly, I could see him just saying, you know what, F it. I got so much money. His wife made so much money from modeling and all. He doesn't work another day in his life if he doesn't want to. So
yeah, I mean, he hasn't had to work in 20 years, but it's the old question, like, is the passion still there? Does he still want to do it? Because if he still wants to do it, he will find, like I said before, he'll find a home in 5 minutes after that contract's done. He'll be on either a TV platform or just an internet platform, or you just pay for his show or a podcast platform. He will have no problem. Like, we have, but it is funny. We are seeing, like, even the podcasting game now. We have retirees from podcasting. Like, Mark Maron is retiring from podcast. Like, this is how far we come already. We're now, like, I don't know, 15 plus years of podcasts being around. Like, Marin was like top 3 podcasts in the world for a long time.
He was like the original, like, oh my God, he's famous for a podcast kind of people.
Exactly. It's like him, Carolla, and Rogan. Like, those are the 3, big ones that I remember being, huge from the beginning. So we are seeing like this turnover, but it's like, eventually things do have to stop. And it's funny because, like, Anthony Cumia, who is, as we know, a lunatic at times, great radio host, but a lunatic. He's back on terrestrial radio, which I think is insane. He has his own show. Yes, he does his own thing still, but he does like a once a week show from terrestrial radio again. Like, Jim Norton was on it the other day, and like, it was fun to hear them together. Do I think Anthony is a lunatic, and is he racist? 100%. But it's funny hearing those guys together. Opie's I think he's out of the three of them completely lost his mind. He like puts up the most boring, like he'll be like, "Oh, it's the Opie Radio podcast." It's him like whining about the Opie and Anthony show, like, and he just seems out of it. He seems weird. Jimmy's no longer with Sam anymore, but I think, ironically, Jim Norton's new podcast, I think, is exactly what he should have been doing for the last at least couple years. It's just him with a comic, and they take phone calls, and it's like Jim Norton can't save you. They give advice, aka quote unquote advice, but it's like perfect. It's him. The other day they had like Voss and Colin Quinn on, and it was just great to hear them all back together again and just doing radio and being silly. Like Norton, you could tell like that's his strong point, is just being silly and like having his buddies around. That's where he shines.
Yeah, I think he's really comfortable in his skin nowadays. I always kind of question, like, he married his wife who's transgender. I always kind of think back to like the O&A days, like, would he openly say, he jokes around, I was with a transgender hooker or something like that. Would he have been that open with I fell in love with this girl. She happens to be transgender. We're married. We love each other. I wonder if he would have been super comfortable, but I think he's just in this perfect environment right now. He was etching with Sam for quite a bit, and I loved it, but now they both got their own means and all. And
yeah, like even when he started with Sam, it felt like kind of weird, like, oh, Opie and Anthony broke up. Let's take the guy who gets some air and put him with Jim. And then the show did actually like develop into a good show. And they were great together. And then like towards the end, it seemed like they were kind of done with it. Like, at least from Jim Norton's standpoint, it seemed like he just wasn't, things just run out. Besides us, we keep going somehow.
Yeah.
But,
so serious as you have that open channel right now, the Verbal Shenanigans podcast, we are willing to do the Tuesday through Thursday shift if you want. And we got plenty of leftovers for Monday and Friday to do that. We could fill a 24-hour set. Who will kill themselves in their cars listening to our 24-hour set is to be determined. But still.
What national audience doesn't want to hear an interview with the cheese lady? Like, I mean,
exactly.
The ratings would go through the roof.
How many days have people like gone to art shows and said, this is interesting, but you know what took it to another level, and I'm not sure if anybody's done that, is if they made that sculpture out of cheese.
Yeah, with the Stern thing, I just think like, we're at an age where like we're seeing the end of a certain era. Like, I'm sure people felt with Johnny Carson, they felt with Abbott and Costello, like everything. I hate to sound like an old man, but everything does eventually end. Like, it just can't go on forever. And when it does go on too long, it becomes like sad. It's like, ooh.
Yeah, and that's why, like, even with all the politics around the whole Colbert thing, on one side, yeah, I can see exactly what's happening, and Paramount did not do themselves any favors timing wise. But at the same time, I could sit back and say, even being an older person, I can't remember the last time I said I'm going to stay up
for the
Late Show or want to watch the Late Show at a certain point.
Been a dead institution for a long time now. Like, I can't even remember the last time I watched one of them. But
I mean, you might have to go back to Letterman retiring or Leno having Hugh Grant on after the hooker situation to go back to. Wow, that's why I tune into late night.
I used to tune into like Conan every once in a while because I love this humor, like his skits. But other than that, I can't remember. But
I mean, I was more of a Carson Daly at 2:37 in the morning.
Of course, I know you were.
That was the show. That they better not cancel that, and I better not find out they did cancel that 15 years ago.
Well, just like cockroaches, we live on, and we will probably continue to do this. And
or bees in your shirt.
Yeah, bees in your shirt. But let's segue to our guest here. Now, this is a cool one. We've had a lot of people from the Red Bull sports world before. Kirby Chambliss, Luke Akins, helicopter pilots, divers, whatever. We've had a bunch of them on, and we've always had good experiences with them. They've always been really fun interviews, and this one is no different. Okay, I picked this guy up. I saw a video on Instagram of a man skydiving through fireworks, and I sent it to Mike before I even reached out to the guy, just to show him like, oh, this is cool. Reached out to the guy, and sure enough, we have that guy coming on the podcast tonight. His name is Jeff Provenzano. He's an American professional skydiver, wingsuit flyer, base jumper. This guy, just YouTube his stuff. And looking forward to having Jeff on. And he's a really interesting man. So without further ado, here's Jeff Provenzano on the podcast.
Yo,
what's going on, Jeff? How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great, man. Thanks for giving us a few minutes here. That's Mike. I'm Scott. Apparently, we're wearing matching shirts, so we didn't.
No, this is a different one.
We didn't plan it. We didn't plan it.
You guys.
Yeah. Thanks for giving us a few minutes here, Jeff. It's like it's funny. I reached out to you after I saw you flying through fireworks on around July 4th, which I want to get to in a little bit. And then I kind of went down a wormhole, and you're good friends with a lot of our podcast friends here. Mr. Kirby Chambliss has been on the show 3 or 4 times, and we've had Aaron Fitzgerald on. I'm curious, all you guys, whether it's pilots, divers, jumpers, is there do you guys form a community together, or is it a competition? How do you all work together? Is it you pitch ideas to one another? Let's see who can put it together. Just curious, because this stuff's insane.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it works a lot of different ways, really. But with Kirby and Aaron in particular, really RedBull brought us together. Mm-hmm. I would have known Kirby anyway, because we were practically neighbors in Arizona. So just by proximity, I knew him. But and actually, to back up again, I actually knew Aaron before RedBull also. I mean, we were doing RedBull stuff, but Aaron wasn't doing RedBull stuff just yet. But he was flying for us. We were using him quite often when we were doing demos and jumps into LA.
Right.
He had a company out there flying helicopters and filming, and we would just we would use him as a jump pilot.
Do you guys all like each other, or is it let's?
Oh yeah.
No, we hate each other. That's why they keep pushing me out of the plane.
Aaron and Kirby are amazing. I love them so much. I wish I got to spend more time with them. And every time we do get to do a project and get together, I'm just stoked. It's just awesome to spend time together with those guys. They are both, completely different types of personalities and characters and people. Yep. Mm-hmm. I love all the time I ever get to spend with those guys. They're awesome.
Take us into a behind the scenes planning session of some of these things. Is it okay, Kirby, you're gonna come in upside down here. I'm how long does it take to plan something like this? Are we talking months? Are we talking weeks?
You just put doodle on a napkin and say, let's do it.
It's at one point it started like that. What we're doing now has evolved over years and years of jumping and training and flying together. But, some of the first initial ideas were just let's go just try just this piece, So we take one part of the whole air show that we might do together. We just take that one part. And at one point in time, it was that was even just an experiment. Hey, let's just try this one piece. And then, okay, we nailed that. And then we try another piece and we nail that. And then, we put together an air show years ago. And then we developed and elaborated on that and built on top of that. And so it just kind of, it naturally just progresses and becomes more complex.
So give me a little background as growing up. Were you the kid that jumped off the couch and mom is screaming at you? Or were you the timid, I can't jump off the curb, I might skin my knee, and you turned into this? What is young Jeff like? Funny
you said that. Yes, I thought you could. I literally, as a kid, I thought you could learn to fly, but like Superman, just self-propelled, from superpowers, right? Mm-hmm. So I thought all I needed to do is train that. So I would jump off the entire flight of stairs, put all the pillows down at the bottom and send it down a flight of stairs all the time. And one funny story, my dad did come home one time. I don't remember. I don't actually have memory of this, but I climbed out of the window. Well, my room was on the second floor, and there was like a little overhanging roof out in front of my window.
Mhm.
And apparently my dad came home and I was standing on the roof and I'm like, hey, I'm going to jump. Can you catch me? And he was like, whoa, 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 whoa. But I don't remember that, but I've heard that story a million times. So yeah, I wanted to jump off things and fly as a kid.
I have a 4-year-old son. I'm not showing him this interview anytime soon.
Plus, your house ain't tall enough, Scott. And all you gotta get at least a 3 level to beat Jeff, and all he's got to get higher than him. You know.
Yeah.
So when did the actual interest in skydiving come? Did it come like most people, like, hey, I want to try that, do a tandem jump, and then it grabbed you, like, or how were you introduced to the sport?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have much exposure to it. I saw the movie Point Break.
Oh, nice.
92-ish, I think it came out. I was a little too young to skydive, but that planted the seed. I was just like, that was the first time I saw footage of like actual skydiving footage. And yeah, I mean, that inspired me. I didn't know at the time though that it was something you do. I just thought like, when I turn 18, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go make a jump. And really, I just, I remember going to the drop zone for the first time. Fast forward, 18 years old, me and a group of my friends from high school, we go to the drop zone. And I remember seeing people like getting on the plane, they were jumping multiple times. And I'm like, wait, people do this like over and over again? I couldn't even like compute that. Like my brain just couldn't even like understand that at the time. And I made my first jump, landed. After my tandem jump, I was so blown away and taken by the experience. I walked straight to the window at the school, the office, and asked the guy that was working there. I was like, hey, what's next? Like, I want to do this again.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically broke down like the program, like the license, like the next jump, the program. And I was like, wow, okay, cool. All right, I need to go home, deliver pizza for like 2 weeks, caddy a couple weeks. All right, I'll be back in 2 weeks with the money, like, let's do this. So
awesome.
That was kind of the beginning of it for me.
And then you saw Point Break and you said, oh, I can steal from banks and skydive at the same time. So
Point Break sold it. Like the whole thing sold it. I was like, yeah, I want to be that guy 100%. But yeah, no, Point Break was definitely the seed for sure.
So give a sense of what it takes to go from, okay, I regularly jump out of planes for fun to, okay, I want to make something special out of this. And do you just on a solo go, let me see if I can do this and that? Or are you literally like talking out to somebody? I'm thinking next week of something like this.
I think it's just, it's a slow evolution. I've been doing it 30 years, Yep. So it's hard to like imagine the long days in the beginning in between a lot of those early jumps. And, I was in school when I first started, so I couldn't afford, I was in school in New York City. I didn't have the time to get out of the city. I couldn't afford it, like, et cetera. So those first few years, I only made a few jumps in the summertime. And when I graduated college, I was obsessed enough with skydiving, even though I wasn't doing a lot of it. I just couldn't get it out of my head. And when I graduated college, I had learned enough about the sport that I learned that the biggest skydiving center in the world is in Arizona. And I realized, like, I got no money, but I got all the time in the world. And if I move to Arizona and just move there and I'm at that drop zone, I'll figure it out. I'll be able to figure out how I'm going to jump. And that's what I did. I moved out there, and it was always like a slow step. Those were long days. That was a couple years there. And then my early years at Skydive Arizona, at the skydiving center out there, I started packing parachutes to earn money. Okay. And that basically enabled me to buy jump tickets and gear and, jump. And I never had, in those years, I didn't have a 5-year goal, a 10-year goal. I had like a maybe a 1 day, a 2 day, and like a 3 day goal. And it was like here. So my 1 day goal was like pack as much as I can, make a few jumps, etc. So like that, I never really had this like vision, like long vision of it. And it just slowly progressed. The more jumps I accumulated, it took me to like the next level, but once again, it was long days and years. And the next level was filming tandems and then teaching, and it slowly evolved, all the way to competitive skydiving. And I think in competitive skydiving, that's kind of where things switched. That's when I started looking at it, because I did other sports and other action sports, when I was younger too. I saw, what professional skateboarders and snowboarders were doing. And when I started competing in skydiving, I basically was like emulating or trying to think the way they were thinking, and looking at what they were doing, what opportunities they had, like sponsors and things like that. And I was like, okay, how do I do that? How do I get a sponsor? So it started to evolve a little bit quicker in that period with professional in a professional state, really. Yep. When I started competing,
How much has technology changed your ability to make money and get I'm just like the videos we're seeing now are just absolutely incredible with the camera technology and drone foot. Like has that been a major part of being able to do this for a living? Like as far as the accessibility to technology and
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Not just for myself, but I mean, I go online, I go on Instagram, and often I'll see, in like an influencer who might have 100, 200 skydives if they're lucky, and they're able to do to create what I'm creating with 1,000, 20,000, 23,000 skydives, and they're able to like capture this content, put it on digitally, create an audience from it, and monetize it, right, in their way. So, I mean, it's really been a game changer, technology, as far as filming, all these little cameras, and then broadcasting just everywhere, like social media, YouTube, whatever. So it's just like, it's been a huge game changer. You're almost able to like kind of double down on where you can make, where you can monetize it. Before it was really live, right? Show or photos. You could do print. There was print still, but print didn't really pay. Magazines, they don't really. Magazines don't really pay, but they got you some exposure. Maybe you can twist that and get a sponsor out of it. From print. But yeah, there was less opportunities before all the tech came. And the video, the video capturing was a hard thing, because you got to remember, this isn't like a sport where, you can have a guy with a camera that's filming you. We needed little devices, like things to attach to our heads. And, the first cameras, they were the size of like bricks on top of your head. And, and you wonder like why everybody had like a bad neck during those years. You're like,
big VHS straps to your head.
Parachute openings. And then they became a little smaller. They were like these like little mini DV cams. And then GoPro came out, and it was like, I saw the first GoPro, and it took AAA batteries. The footage, I mean, compared to what the quality is now, it's like, but all the quality of all the video back then wasn't that great anyway. And I put that thing on my head, took it to the drop zone. No one had ever seen it before. And I was just like, yeah, man, this is it. I'm never jumping a Sony or any kind of like digital video camera that was out at the time. I was like, I'm done with that weight. I'm just jumping this little box. And that was it. That was the big game changer. GoPro really changed it.
I did the same thing. I got a GoPro and I strapped it to my dog and let him run in the snow. And I was like, I'm cutting. This is the most amazing footage I've ever seen.
Yes.
I jumped out of a plane with a Betamax VCR. The footage was terrible. I'm sorry. That's why my career ended.
How many jumps have you had ruined by a technology fail? It's like you ever do something insanely cool and
I was going to ask that.
Yeah. Occasionally it happens. You forget. A lot of times it's operator error, right?
Yep.
Oh, my card is full. Oh, I forgot to charge the battery. Once in a while, the tech might fail, but it's rare the tech fails. It's usually more operator error. Yep. And I mean, actually, speaking of GoPro, the other day I was making a jump. I had my 360 camera here, and I dropped it on the ground. You can't see it on the screen, but I got this nice divot on my lens, and right before a really cool jump. Luckily, I was able to edit it and make it look like it doesn't have a giant scratch in the video, but but I was like, all right, don't think about it, just go do the jump.
back in the day, you forgot to hit play and record on the VCR as you're going down.
I've forgotten to hit record, or I thought I hit record, and then after I hit record to stop it, I actually start the video.
Yep.
So I've got like this 20-minute video of me walking back into the hangar, talking to everybody, packing my parachute. And then I look for the video, and I'm like, oh.
Now, you did a jump in a wingsuit through Manhattan, doing about 120 miles an hour. Out of curiosity, who do you got to contact to get approval for this? And I can't imagine this is just, hey, let's see how they think about it.
Yeah, New York's a tricky one to work. I mean, there's just a lot of, you got to kind of know your way around the bureaucracy in New York and the politics and how things work here for sure. That was not the first project I pitched to New York, and most of the ideas, I mean, they were like, yep, nope. And they're really like solid no. And, over the years of just, trial and error and who to talk to, you start to eliminate some of the people, and you kind of know, like, okay, let's just talk to this person directly. Like, this will be our first person that we communicate to. And actually the selling point was what I kind of learned is, like, they really just didn't want us to land in the city, or kind of like, that was the biggest thing. They're like, so I thought, well, what if we landed on a boat in the river? And they were like, wait, so you're not landing on the city? I'm like, no, you're going to be over the water. They're like, hey, you do whatever you want over the water. We're like, what? It was that easy. Like, it was like this, like, man, why didn't we think about this earlier? Like,
man, I got a ticket for having a beer on a train going to a Met game once. This guy's flying over through Port Authority.
If you had the beer on a boat, Scott, you wouldn't have had this problem.
So
that was a tricky one, though, and I'm glad. I mean, will we ever do another? I don't know if that opportunity ever come up again. I mean, it still required a ton of permitting, off-duty cops and firemen, and safety, and wow. It was for just a little jump that you could do in the country with like nobody, right? Just like a pilot and a couple jumpers and maybe a camera guy. It was like, even if you eliminated the media crew and everything, it was still like dozens of people involved, just because it was like New York City.
Yeah. Well, that let's segue back into kind of how I started this interview and how I found you. This July 4th video, speaking of huge undertakings, I mean, if no one's seen the video, just go on Jeff's Instagram. It's up there. You can even just type in Skydiver fireworks show and it pops up. I mean, this is just incredible. You're like weaving in and out of fireworks. And the first thing I did was send it to Mike before I even reached out to you. I'm like, this is insane. How did this come together, and what were like some of the challenges other than like getting blown up with an M80 or something? What were some of the challenges of putting this one together?
Well, well, from my perspective, it was pretty easy. I just showed up. My teammates told me what I was doing, and I put a wingsuit on and I went and did it. A lot of the the thought behind the project. I mean, that's another evolution of things. The plane we used, right? Luke Akins designed an airplane,
We also
experimental
had on the show.
aircraft
Yep.
with this giant flap on the bottom, and it was used the original use was for plane swap. Two planes. The jumpers would exit, the pilots were the jumpers. And so basically they would ghost ride these planes in a dive. They put them in a dive, jump out and fly to the other plane, like switch airplanes, regain control of the aircraft, get inside and then regain and then pull out. So it was this specially designed aircraft that can pretty much fly in a dive and fly slow in a dive. So you can control the speed and the pitch very well. And then after it's used in that project, Luke was like, oh man, I got other ideas with this plane. We're going to like pitch it in different angles and we can fly wingsuits with it and we can do this, that, and the other. And then the idea evolved to, from that, like, okay, what can you do at night with it? And, Luke, whether it came from Luke, I don't know this part, if this was Luke's idea or pitched to him. But the idea came about to like, what if you strapped mortars on the bottom of the flap, shooting them horizontally, and they were exploding in free fall or in the sky, and you had wingsuiters like chasing that. So that was the idea behind that. And the only way to really test that was, Luke tested the mortar system, popped a few off, and was like, okay, it works. Like, he was able to fly, put in a dive, launch some fireworks off the side of the plane, and then I was like, all right, well, let's see if we can fly with this thing, So, and once again, another evolution of progression of jumping out, first time jumping out, chasing giant fireworks. Like, you're not here, you're flying way back, right? You're not trying to go all inside the sparks yet. You're like, I'm gonna fly way back here and just kind of watch what this thing is doing, like you're observing it from free fall, basically way behind and just going, okay, I'm following the plane. We're really far behind. Oh, okay, there goes the fireworks. Okay, I see them. All right, they're blowing up around here. And then next jump, you start getting a little closer and a little closer, and then you get maybe a little too close and some sparks hit you by accident. And then you're like, wait a second, just sparks. It was nothing. I got full face. I got this like thick nylon suit, and you realize like, all right, well, as long as I'm not like at the actual explosion center point of the mortar, probably okay. So you just get a little bit more comfortable over a bunch of jumps to get more, to get closer and tighter and just in there. So, and that was kind of what it was. So it wasn't just like, hey, I got this idea. You're going to waste it like out of the blue.
Yeah.
It evolved from something that was created, an aircraft that was created for a totally different purpose. But then we realized like we could use this in multiple ways and fly wingsuits with it, not just put it straight in vertical dives, but put it in like wingsuit angle dives. And then it evolved from that. So, everybody always just sees the final product of
course,
right? You never see like the training and the time and the things that go involved. So it's like, if you're like, oh, you're so crazy. And it's like, well, if we approached it the way you think we approached it, we might be crazy, but we actually didn't, and like, we approached this very like methodically and we progressed step by step, it wasn't a big leap to get there.
Now, you brought up earlier the great movie Point Break. Now, you also done films. You were doing shoots for Iron Man 3. Talk about that scene and why it took a month to shoot all of that.
Yeah, well, when you're doing things for Hollywood, they're very specific too, the exact precise shots. So I remember there was one jump where it was just like they needed to get a shot of like the guy grabbing another hand. So, just a specific shot like that. And it was too slow. Oh, it was too fast. Oh, like they do like 8 jumps to get like this one like very specific shot because they write this whole, the whole movie and they create a a pre-visual for it, a cartoon basically,
Right.
that
Yeah.
animated version of it, very rough animated version. But the rough animated version is like it was like the exact shots they were looking for. And it was cool because after we get a bunch of shots in the can, the very original previs that we watched, they would start like adding clips of reel into it.
Yep.
And that's where you started to see the magic happen. It's like, because now you're like, it went from this goofy cartoon to like real shots. And this is before all the, post work and, animation and CGI that they add into the shots too, to make it even cooler. And it's just a really slow process of getting very, very specific shots. And in the other part there was a lot of moving parts. There was 12 of us. So some of the jumps that we were doing were very high level stunt jumps. We were jumping 12 of us with no goggles, no altimeter, no helmets, parachutes that were basically hidden inside of our costumes. So, you don't just open a parachute. You kind of you have to open the costume to open the parachute.
Wow.
So, yeah. Meanwhile, you're squinting in, jumps where we're not used to jumping without goggles. We're not used to jumping without altimeters. And we're just flying formations and building things and then having to safely deploy at a good normal altitudes without knowing anything. So we had to train some of it, and it was way more complex than most people think. So, as far as the jumps were very complex, and then you would just mess up one little detail of that shot, and I was like, do that again.
Oh man.
The grip was too close. You need to look more like you're out of control. Now you look too out of control. It looks like you're just, you have to be a little bit more slower with your arms, or oh god. So, here we go again. But super fun and super challenging, and frustrating at times, but also very rewarding because we did the job. We at the end of the day, we had this time period to shoot it, and we filmed it, and we got it done in that time frame. So it was awesome to. It was one of the coolest stunt scenes I think.
It's awesome. Plus you're part of
it's all real. It's not
plus you're part of the MCU now.
The only things that are CGI'd is the actual the plane, the explosion, nothing blew up in the sky. And Iron Man, my teammate Andy, who was Iron Man in free fall, he just had all the dots on him, and then they CGI'd.
It's amazing.
Iron Man on his face, right? So they made that part, but everything else is real. It was cool.
Oh, I was going to say I guess you're going to be Dr. Doom in the Avengers skydiving next. I was going to say, but it was your buddy who was Iron Man. Damn.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's so many dives I would love to talk to you about, but there is just one last one I want to ask you about, which was when you jumped out. You jumped out of a plane strapped to a couch
for NVIDIA.
Yeah. with a full kind of living room set. What is the genesis of that? And was that a nightmare to plan too? Because it sounds insane also.
Oh yeah. Well, once again, when you're kind of the talent, sometimes you just get to show.
I hope that was a month-long shoot where you kept on pushing couches out for a month from planes.
Flying through the fireworks. I mean, really, showed up, I put a wingsuit on, and I started chasing airplanes with fireworks on. For NVIDIA, I mean, I showed up, I saw everything was there. The C-130 was loaded up with a thing and, a living room set already. And I didn't have to build the living room. I didn't do any of that work. I'm just that's the thing with Hollywood jobs too. Everybody has a job. So if you're the stunt, you're you're just doing that part, that role at the end of the day. So the living room was really you're going to go for a ride. I've thrown enough things out of airplanes, and I think that's why I jumped with I've probably got 15 to 20 jumps with cars out of airplanes and all sorts of things, lit bathtubs and toilet bowls and picnic tables. And, Yeah, I sat on a toilet bowl once. Like a little bathroom, basically. And that was funny too. All sorts of things. So like myself and maybe like handful of other people in the world probably, done an extent amount of like, jumping with objects like this. So I was like just one that came to mind when this job came up. Like, hey, you want to do this? I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. So I just showed up and with the mindset of like, this is gonna be a stunt. You're gonna go for a ride. It's gonna be very unpredictable. You can't predict what this thing is gonna do in free fall. It's gonna want to spin in every direction, and you're gonna have to just get away from it. At some point, right? You're gonna need to get away from it and safely open a parachute. So, and not get hit by this thing as you're trying to get away from it. And if it could be spinning really fast. So you just need to be willing to accept the fact that this is not just a skydive now. This isn't just based on skill. I mean, all the skill, and I think the skill where it comes in is just the ability to stay calm in these situations and observe what's going on and be able to just on the fly quickly make the best and quickest decision you have to in that moment. And you can visualize as much as you want for it. But at the end of the day, the experience, thousands of jumps and doing different weird stunts and seeing objects flying, kind of understanding all that in the moment, it's like, okay, like what, react now and the right choice, like do the right thing and do it quick. You don't have a lot of thinking time to do it. So yeah, the living room was an exciting jump. We did 3 living room sets, identical. 2 of them were free fall. And then one, actually the scariest one was the one where we put the parachute on it. And we had to push this thing out. Big, I think it was more, over 10,000. I think it was like 11 or 12,000 square foot parachute.
Ooh.
Massive. I mean, tandem parachute's 400 square feet. So wow. This is gigantic. Biggest parachute I've ever flown in my life. 12,000 square foot parachute. Or 11,000 it might have been. And, it packs up like a large, like my loft gear bag, my suitcase. And it's sitting on top of this rack, like these bars, like it's got this whole system that it's gonna like, and once it deploys, it suspends the whole living room from this thing. And the riser straps were like, they were like cargo straps, like this, like 4 or 5 inches wide. And as the thing goes out of the plane, it's gonna just push it out of the plane, and the parachute's gonna open right away, right? It's a static line like deployment. And as I'm getting pushed out of the plane, I'm watching all these straps kind of start to move around. I see the parachute start to extract. And in that moment, I was like, man, is this thing going to actually open? Yeah. Right? Like, am I going to be sitting on the living room in a malfunction? Right? Like, and I was aware of it before the jump, but I'm like, this is like the moment where I'm like, okay, I've never seen a parachute this big try to unfold and open. And it was definitely a different, it was very odd to witness this. And it's very loud in the beginning, and these straps are moving around and everything. And then slowly, boom, this parachute fully inflates above my head. No line twist, no nothing. It's just perfect. And all of a sudden it got really quiet. This thing flew super slow. It's a giant parachute. It flew very quietly, very slow. And I'm like, wow. And I remember just giving myself a minute. I'm like, okay, I got some time. I got time now. Like,
throw an episode of something you like on the TV real quick.
I mean, literally, like I got a minute to chill here. And then I'm like, wow, this is super cool. So and I had a roll cage to protect myself from the parachute. And it was just like a handheld thing, this big giant like cage. And after that, it was not part of the set. Since we were over a sterile zone, like over our like stunt drop zone, the plan was like, hey, once you open, you just ditch that overboard, let that go down to the desert. And massive, I mean, this is like Area 51 style desert. And So I ditched my roll cage, like take it all in for a second. All these cameras are already loaded, rolling, and then I'm like, oh man, now I gotta act. I gotta do my scenes, like, a bunch of shots I have to get done. So I start to do that, and then I see my buddy Joe Jennings. Joe Jennings was my friend. He's that guy. He's kind of the guy who puts this all together. Joe and Steve Curtis. And then I see Joe Jennings under his parachute because he's getting these like outside angles flying around this thing. And I see just him like kind of like orbiting around me slowly. I like had to wave to him once or twice. It was just surreal sitting in this couch. The guys who on the ground, they had this thing. They could steer it and they could land it. And if I knew that they could steer it and land it so precisely and so softly and delicately, I would have stayed on the couch the whole time. But I didn't try. I never seen this. And I was like, this is the first time this has ever been done. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna ride this down. So at around 2,000 feet, which was like kind of like the lowest altitude I would jump off of it. I think it was like 2,500 feet, if I remember, maybe 2,000. I jumped off this thing, opened my parachute, landed, and I turned around. I watched this living room. Yeah, and it just landed right where the guy said they were going to land it. Like, yeah, we're going to land it right here. Nice, flat, open, soft. And I'm like, yeah, I don't believe you. And it just came in and it landed so softly. It might have slid like 20 feet horizontally once it touched the ground to a nice stop. And I was like, oh man, I would have totally sat in that thing the whole way down.
People are going by, they think it's a yard sale out there or something.
Yeah. No. Well, that was the joke on set, was like, because we got the crew out there in the desert, and they're stationed like at safe distance away. We do a lot of calculations of where this is going to drop and add a buffer, safety to that. But the joke on the ground was, where all the rental cars were from the crew. It was like, how do you explain that to the rental car company? Yeah. A living room crashed on my rental car. Like,
the insurance report would be quite interesting on that one. What happened?
Yeah. I think you just reported stolen at that point. Like, it might just be easier. Like, don't even bother with that. No one's going to believe it.
Well, you and Mike are very similar. You jumped out with a toilet. Mike once got offered to do a podcast where another guy wanted him to sit on the toilet and interview.
That's true.
So
that's true.
Which there's some ideas that are good and some that are not great. But
I mean, maybe I find a skydiving podcast and I combine the two, and I can get interviewed by both of them at the same time.
You might, yeah. I mean, and there's less to think about. Like for jumping with the toilet. There's this one thing that I had to think about is I needed to make my pants look like they were pulled down. But when I actually was flying, I need my legs to not be like tied together, like as if you pulled your pants down. So what we did is we cut the pants in half. So they were just like
two legs.
Two legs. Mm-hmm. So when I like sat and put my knees together, it looked like pants on. But then when I stood up, I just had like these like long leggings on. And then I had like my underwear on. So when you sat, like it looked like you were naked. But
amazing. Jeff, thank you. First, I want to thank you so much for your time. It's just, I could feel like I could ask you like a million questions. Love to have you on back down the line, maybe when you do your next stunt. One last question for you from me. When you go to like a barbecue or something and you're talking with the other dads and whatnot, and they're like, what do you do? I'm a teacher. What do you do? Like, I work for, on people's 401ks. And then they ask you like, what do you do for a living? Is it like, oh shit, here we go. Like, do you make something up where you don't want to talk about it? Cause you're going to dominate the conversation for the next hour at least.
Yeah. I've done both. I've definitely created stories with some friends at times and just like, hey, nobody knows this here. Okay, let's just make something really goofy up, like, but no, and it's just, I talk about it, like, I talk about it very nonchalantly. Well, that's what I'm told all the time. They're like, you say that so casually. I'm like, well, yeah, it's just what I do every day,
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm trying to think about when I met all the neighbors in this neighborhood. They all know me now, so it's like they're just like, "Hey, where were you?" It's like it's all normal now and cool, and they love it and they think it's the coolest thing. But, yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what the beginnings were with that.
So Jeff, if people want to check you out, check out what's going on with you, see some of your videos, where's the best place to see what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, mostly Instagram. Yeah, I channel everything through Instagram. That's to see all the stunts and stuff. And I got to throw in a plug for. I just started started a company. Me and a friend of mine, my friend Caleb Cry. We just started a new company. It's a rolling duffel bag that turns into a workstation. It's awesome.
Okay.
It's massive. I put all my gear. I've been traveling with prototypes for like over a year and a half. I'm in love with this bag already. And we just launched. It's called Loft Gear, LOFT. And the model is the Station 150. And it's just amazing. It's a bag. It pops, legs pop open. It turns into a complete table surface. You can open it up. There's all these accessories that you can, bags that go in it and little pouches and stuff. But it's just anybody who needs like a portable workstation or a surface and doesn't want to be on the ground digging through their suitcase. Even my friends who just travel, like their clothes in a hotel room, or photographers, or like anybody, paintball. Like it's kind of awesome. It's for everybody. Loftgear.com. There's links there. You can go to the website. There's links on how to order it. We've only got like 12 left on that are at the discounted price. There's only 12 left and then the price is going to change. So it's like right now, and maybe by the time this is published, we might be out of those 12. So
it's funny because it sent me a message and I'm like, why am I getting advertisement for a bag? Now it makes complete sense.
Yeah. Well, after the 12, that's just the 12 left at a discounted price. There's still more bags to go up to everybody. You're just, the first 50 people the first 50 people got a hefty discount. The next batch of people got like an additional discount, like a little less.
Tiers. Yeah.
It's just different tiers. But I'm really excited about it too. So, and it's been a good tool for me, for my work, for being on stunt jobs and being at the drop zone and doing all what I do. It's been an awesome tool to have. So
awesome.
And final question from me. Do you Red Bull stunt people have meet and greets every year? Because I got a wakeboarder from Red Bull, Park Spotify, who was supposed to do the show and he's been ghosting me. So if you have a meet and greet, can you poke him?
I'll call him right now. Actually, I'll send him a message right now. I'll take a selfie. Here, I'm gonna send him a camera.
Tell him how the interview went. All right, I'm gonna give a thumbs up.
All right, I'm sending this to him right now.
Yeah, like he told it. Like I got him last year. He's like, "Yeah, I'll do it," and then he's ghosted me now officially for 1 year now. So I'm getting a little.
He probably heard about the toilet podcast and was like,
I mean,
if anybody's got stories, Park's got some good stories.
Yeah, I saw him with he was wakeboarding, holding on to Aaron's like helicopter. I'm like, oh, that's sweet. Then he ghosted me.
That dude is a legend. There, boom! I just sent a nice message straight to him. These guys want to do a podcast with you, Verbal Shenanigans.
Yes.
So,
well, it has been an idea of mine forever to have all you guys on one interview as a panel, like Luke and Kirby, and just to see some of the stories that come from all you guys together. We'll just sit back and watch the chaos ensue. But
oh my god, can I pick? Because you know what, you need like the dynamic of who you choose is you need Luke, you need Miles, you need Kirby. I mean, you need like all the big. I mean, actually, you just need the whole team, really. We're all kind of characters in our own way, but I mean, this could be fun.
We'd love to moderate that, but
absolutely,
Jeff, thank you so much for your time, man. Really appreciate the interview. I had a great time, man.
Awesome, thank you.
Jeff Provenzano, Mike. The Red Bull guys do not disappoint. That, like I said before the interview, they're all like really good conversations.
Oh, easy. And they must be so used to it, as we point out in the interview, just when you like go to a barbecue or something and somebody's like, well, what do you do on the side? And the second that starts, it's like, you got to talk for 40 minutes nonstop about yourself there.
Yeah, I feel like every day of his is probably like being on our podcast, like a good 40-minute, like people peppering him with questions that he's answered 300 times. Now, the audience is waiting for you to do the toilet podcast.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about it as we were doing the interview, and also I think I'm going to ping back Mr. Dick Frost, I believe his name was, and see if I can arrange it.
Yeah. But now maybe you can step it up and get Jeff involved, where you're falling, the two of you are just free falling, staring at each other on a toilet doing an interview.
Yeah, I think I should incorporate every single person we've ever interviewed and all. Like I could be on the toilet while I was falling from the sky, while getting slapped in the face and making a cheese sculpture.
Of course. Yeah. I think it's a grand idea. Now, I was curious when I was thinking about you had that bee in your shirt. Are you, I noticed you didn't kill him yet. Are you thinking about giving him a little voice? And if the bee had a voice, what would it sound like?
I figure it'd be something like, and then I would just translate for the bee. So the bee would not have a regular speaking voice like my dogs, but
see, I think he should have a big, like, voluptuous voice, like, hey, Mike, like.
But it's just a tiny bee. Why would he have such a deep voice?
That's what makes it more comical, that he has like a deep Barry White voice, like, hey, man, like, wow, you be stinging me. Like, I didn't sting you. Don't kill me, man.
But what's the story behind the bee and all to have such a deep voice? That's why I don't understand. Because like my dog voices have stories behind it, if you recall.
Yeah, like the one who was a French rapist. Yeah, he had
I am the Farley.
Oh, okay. So he'd be like using you as a medium.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, that's like, as you were talking about last week about if you got a third kid, you're just going to send the kid to me.
Yes.
I feel like I wouldn't teach the kid how to talk. I would just make the kid's voice and like bring him to school and be the kid's voice for him and all. Like he'd be a mute. And then I would just be like speaking for him the entire time. It'd be hilarious as we go through the grades together.
That sounds like a great plan. But
that's why I'd be a good parent.
Yeah, Jeff Provenzano in the running for me for interview of the year, by the way, in the running for sure. All right, Mike. It's the time of the show where I've done it before, where we dive bomb the show into the ground. The last one I remember being a little worried about was, is it blind or is it melon?
Yeah.
Where I was like, well, it's the end of the show, so no one probably listens this far anyway. But it turned out to be a good one. Then the wrestling game the other week turned out to be a good one. So I got high hopes that maybe we can get there. Mike, you ready to play a little game here?
Oh, I'm always ready, Scott. Oh, Vader's going to eat the bee, possibly. He's sniffing the dead bee, and he's looking at it. He's not going for it yet, but he's sniffing it.
Yeah.
I'd like to keep people updated on the bee. Or the bee would say, but go on.
Yeah. Mike, we noticed on the show in the last couple of weeks that you've been getting a little distracted. You've been getting a little distracted. I
haven't sorted one cake since we started this day. I just wanted to let you know.
Yeah. So those who are just tuning in, a couple of weeks ago, I caught Mike, his glasses illuminating from the screen with there was little colors going on in his eyes. And I was like, what are you doing? I was trying to tell a story about Conor McGregor and seeing his pictures. I'm like, what are you doing? And he was caught red-handed. He was like, I was sorting cakes, playing some game, cake sort. So playing a game during the party. And now Mike also wrote on the newsletter, which is back, just put it out today, about his ADD tendencies and whatnot. So tonight, Mike, we're going to combine your ADD tendencies with skydiving. Okay.
Ooh.
We're going to play a little game called Distract or Deploy. Okay. So in distract or deploy, you are metaphorically skydiving, plummeting towards the ground at breakneck speed. Okay. To deploy your parachute and land safely, you must answer 5 out of 8 questions. Okay.
All right.
Correctly. Okay. Each question is designed to be a mental maze loaded with distractions, extraneous details, misdirection. Okay. But the answer is pretty much within the question. So you just have to pay attention. Each question will only be read one time. Okay?
Gotcha.
Okay. So it will require focus, your max focus, Mike, to get these questions right. Okay.
Okay. As Vader's still sniffing the beat.
Yeah. See, you. I've already looked. You see your eyes darting towards what's ever going on with Vader and the bee here. Now, Mike, to ramp up the game a little bit more. Okay, you're going to be hearing the wind sounds as you you hear these questions. So you may hear something like this.
Ooh, that's comforting.
Yeah. So picture yourself plummeting down to Earth. Okay. So, Mike, this is distract or deploy. Are you ready for your first question?
Just a question before the question. Is all the answers distract or deploy, or is it?
Oh, no. Okay. No, you're either distracted or deploying your sheet. But no, all your answers are kind of like common.
It's a riddle.
Common questions. Like the actual answers aren't that hard. It's can you follow along? Okay.
Gotcha.
All right. So you're at 8,000 feet, Mike. You got 8,000 feet to go. All right. You need to deploy that thing somewhere before you crash. Okay.
All right.
Are you ready?
Let's do this.
Okay. While skydiving over the waters of the Caribbean, you notice a flock of birds, possibly albatrosses, soaring in a V formation, which reminds you of a documentary about the migratory patterns by a famous actor whose name escapes you. But the year 1969 stands out because it was when humans first landed on the moon. You begin to think about the Philly Phanatic and his strange family. The Philly Phanatic, the beloved green mascot of the Philadelphia Phillies, entertains fans with his playful antics, joined occasionally by his mother, Phoebe, his cousin Fred, and his girlfriend Fiona, forming a quirky fictional family. What significant event happened in 1969?
Ooh. I'm going to say Caribbean.
I'm sorry, Mike. It was the moon landing. The moon landing was in the one sentence it even said. 69 stands out when humans first landed on the moon, Mike. Sorry, you got to pay a little bit more attention as you're plummeting to Earth. That's kind of what you're getting into here. Did I lose you? You there?
Your internet was kind of lagging there for a minute.
Oh, okay. Let me stop.
But we're good now.
All right, I'm just going to stop. Actually, no, I'm not going to stop. I'll remember that. Lagging internet. Stop there. Okay, Mike. So how are you feeling as you're plummeting to Earth here? You need your total focus.
Well, I mean, there's still plenty of ground to go. So I think I can still pull this off. So
okay. All right. So you're at 7,000 feet now, Mike.
All right.
Feet. Okay. Here we go. You're a skydiving instructor, a fan of chemistry, rambles about the periodic table, mentioning that the element with atomic number 79, not to be confused with silver or copper, which are less valuable. You begin to think about your beloved Dukes of Hazzard. Boss Hogg, born Jefferson Davis Hogg on April 6, 1926, is the fictional greedy county commissioner of Hazzard County. The Dukes of Hazzard. Dukes of Hazzard, known for his white suit, cowboy hat, and cigar-smoking persona. Played by Sorrel Burke, his schemes amass wealth through dubious means, often clashing with the Duke family, though his plans rarely involve a physical harm. What is a shiny metal often used in jewelry? What is the element?
Gold.
Gold is correct, Mike. Gold is correct. Ironically, I was thinking about you actually skydiving and being like, oh, I wonder what Boss Hogg's
I'm coming from the sky, just like that alien in season 7.
All right, Mike, you are 1 for 2.
All right.
Okay. You're at 6,000 feet now. Will we get this parachute deployed? I'm not quite sure. We'll see. See where your brain goes on this one. All right. You glimpse a mountain below, reminding you of a geography class where the teacher droned on about tectonic plates and the highest peak in the world, which stands at 29,032 feet, not in the Alps or the Andes, but in the Himalayas. You open your phone and begin to cake sort. Cake Sort is a colorful puzzle game where players merge and sort cake slices on plates to create complete desserts, matching 6 slices of the same type to clear them. The game challenges your brain with progressively harder levels, unlocking new cakes like chocolate, red velvet, tiramisu, as you often explore cuisines. With no time limits and offline play, it offers a relaxing yet addictive experience for puzzle enthusiasts. What is the mountain?
The Himalayas.
I'm sorry, that would be Mount Everest. Mount Everest, which is in the Himalayas. It was the name of the peak in the mountains. I'm sorry, Mike. You were thinking about cake sorting too hard there. Mount Everest was the answer I'm looking for. How are you feeling as you're plummeting to Earth only at 5,000 feet to go?
I mean, a little concerning, but I still feel I'm up for the challenge going forward. So
you need a big score here. You need a score here to even yourself up. Okay, Mike, 5,000 feet. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. You recall a music trivia night where someone argued about a band formed in Liverpool in 1960, not the Rolling Stones or the Kinks, but one with a famous album. Football season's coming quick. You start to think about your favorite football team, the Washington Commanders. Founded in 1932 as the Braves, moved to Washington, D.C. in 1937, and were known as the Redskins until 2020 when they became the Washington Football Team, adopting the Commanders name in 2022. The team has won 5 NFL championships, with their most successful era under Joe Gibbs. What is this band?
The Beatles.
The Beatles is correct, Mike. You paid attention good. You weren't thinking about football season too much to realize we were talking about John, Paul, Ringo, and George, Mike, out of Liverpool, England. You are 2 for 2. You are at 4,000 feet to go. You need to get 5 questions correct. Okay.
All right.
Here we go. 4,000 feet. As you near the ground, you think of an art history lecture about a painter who created Starry Night in 1889. Not Monet or Picasso. The Nada chair, developed by Nada Concepts in 1985, is a wearable back support system that uses knee straps to stabilize the pelvis, promoting proper posture and relieving lower back pain. Its patented design, endorsed by the World Chiropractic Alliance, follows body movements for dynamic lumbar support, making it ideal for prolonged sitting in offices. This was someone who tragically cut off his own ear. Who's the painter?
Van Gogh.
Van Gogh is correct, Mike. You are 3 for 5. We went to the Nada chair there, which, as your chiropractor said, if he had only invented that,
I know,
he would have been a millionaire.
Once if my chiropractor was Van Gogh, can you imagine the money you could have made then?
Yes. Mike, you're at 3,000 feet. You're getting close to the ground. I feel like maybe you're starting to find your chute. You're starting to think about landing or not landing, but you're now ahead of the game a little bit. You are in the winning position at the moment. Okay.
I'm feeling all right. I'm feeling all right.
You need 2 more out of the next 3. Here we go. 3,000 feet. You are free falling and look to see an ocean. Here, pirates sailed through the stormy seas where ships have been known to disappear famously. The Bermuda Triangle, spanning roughly 500,000 to 1,500,000 square miles between Miami, Bermuda, and San Juan, is infamous for the mysterious disappearance of over 50 ships and 20 aircraft since the mid-19th century. The ships remind you of cars. NASCAR, founded in 1948 by Bill France Sr., standardized stock car racing in the U.S., evolving from moonshine runners, modified cars, into a major sport with events like the Daytona 500. The sport features high-speed races on oval tracks, with the top series like the Cup Series drawing millions of fans. Though its popularity peaked in the early 2000s, what ocean were you looking at?
The Atlantic.
That is correct, Mike. That is correct. You were staring at the Atlantic Ocean. Will you land in it? I don't think so. We're going to find out in the next 2 questions. Mike, how are you feeling about your chute deploying now that you kind of got a hang of the game?
I got 1 out of 2 chance, so I feel like I can make this happen.
Wow, way to really describe how you're feeling. I got a 1 out of 2 chance, so I can do it.
I'm trying to concentrate. Shush.
Now, does this game feel like torture for you as far as paying attention?
A little bit. I'm not going to lie on this one. You're hitting the marks completely when it comes to that.
I figured I'd throw like candy in front of you. Dukes of Hazzard, the Nada Chair, NASCAR, the Commanders, like all the things you love. Here we go. Okay. You are at 2,000 feet, Mike. You are so close to the ground. You could pull the chute on this question. Here we go. You check your altimeter. You're getting close. You spot a river below, sparking a memory of a world history class about a civilization along a river in Egypt. Not the Tigris or the Euphrates, but one famous for pyramids built around 2700 BC. You're hungry. You begin to think about Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's, a Texas chain-based restaurant founded in 1982 by Arch Beaver Applin III, is renowned for its massive convenience stores, some spanning over 74,000 square feet, offering everything from brisket sandwiches to quirky merchandise. Known for its clean restrooms and iconic beaver mascot, it has grown to over 50 locations across the South, becoming a cultural phenomenon for road trippers. What is this river?
The Nile.
The Nile, Mike, is correct. Your chute has deployed, and you are floating safely down to the ground. Unfortunately for the listeners, but you are all good, Mike. You have absolutely survived. How do you feel, Mike? Do you feel like your brain can now relax?
Well, not really, because also as this was happening, I realized my charger to my computer was not working, and my laptop was looking close to death, so I'm holding down the charger right now so it continues to charge so we can keep on going. So I am very lucky. I figured out the pattern, so I knew where exactly to pay attention.
Okay. So
what was the last question? Can we do it for fun?
Yeah, we can do it for fun. Okay. Here we go. So this is it. Last chance to pull the cord. You've been thinking about gravity. Your mind wanders to physics lecture about a scientist who formulated gravity laws. Not Einstein, who came, nor Galileo, who was earlier, but someone whose work was published in 1687. You don't want to die. You begin to think about another passion of yours, horror movies. Horror movies dating back to the 1890s films like La Mano du Diable gained popularity for their abilities to evoke fear through suspense, gore, supernatural elements, with iconic classics like Dracula shaping the genre. The genre has evolved through subgenres like slasher films, popularized by Halloween, and psychological horror, with global box office earnings for horror films reaching over $1 billion annually in recent years. Who is this scientist? Newton would have been correct. Mike, you pulled the chute. You and Jeff Provenzano can do the toilet podcast.
Yes.
You're not dead. It would have been funny if you plummeted and then your laptop battery died at the same time for ultra realism. But Mike, well done. You survived another stupid game done by Scott Brennan here. That was I don't even remember the name of it. Distract or deploy. You are a winner today, Mike.
I'm always a winner, Scott. It doesn't matter what day of the week it is.
Well, that is it for us tonight. Okay. So Also, I was not going to say. So you had to deal with my absurd questions, the wind sound, the bee.
The bee, yep.
Your dog trying to eat the bee.
Yeah, he lay down, so
your
that
charger
was thing.
And your cake stored game probably going on in the background.
I have no hands for the cake sorting, so I had to.
I'm losing. But that is it for us, guys. Great episode tonight. Mike, anything to promote before we go?
Well, I'll promote the Verve Pipe have just released their 8th album called Reconciled this year. They just put out a new music video for it called Tattoo. If you go on to YouTube or go on Facebook and look up the Verve Pipe, you can listen to their brand new song in their new album coming out called Reconciled. We've had the lead singer of the Verve Pipe on the podcast in previous episodes, so they are a great band. I love the song The Freshman. My one time of doing karaoke, I sang the song The Freshman. So if you're a big fan of the Verve Pipe, check out the new album Reconciled.
Yeah, maybe we'll throw the karaoke footage in the newsletter this week. I will promote also a band that is coming out that we've had on the podcast. One of the favorite interviews of all time, Gwar. Gwar, we had Blothar the Berserker on the show, and they just released official action figures of the band. And apparently, if you buy all the action figures, each one comes with a part where you could assemble the original lead singer, Oderus Urungus, which is a fantastic idea.
My goodness.
I want a Blothar action figure. I don't know if I want the whole group, to be honest, but if I get a Blothar action figure, he will be sitting right above my shoulder as we podcast for eternity here. So go check out Gwar, the mad scientist. The action figure line fans have waited for 40 years to own. It's finally coming out. Gwar action figures. Something I never thought in my life would come out of my mouth, but here we are. Other than that, guys, I put the newsletter back out. It was mostly a summary and then 2 of Michael Perlow's stories, one about his mom getting plowed while a bat was in the house. You can also hear that story on the podcast a couple times over the years, so go check that out. Newsletter will be back to hopefully regular next week. Other than that, guys, please keep subscribing, listening, sharing, and all that fun stuff. Life is funny. Laugh at it. Keep the wind at your back.
Oh, God, the Philly Phanatic's dad is just coming to my house, and he's got a gun!